Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Welcome to the Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller podcast. I'm your host, Mike Boyd. Joining me, of course, is the rookie, Mr. Chris Dashew.
Now, let me tell you something. I'm normally the one doing the bulk of the conversing here. Been that way all my life.
All right. Yes.
That's what Dietrich says.
I feel harassed right now. I'm also only wearing a robe.
Yeah, what? And gravity, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
God,
true.
Jesus.
On this episode, we're talking about 3 episodes of the original Barney Miller show. We're talking about episodes 6, 7, and 8 from the 5th season, Accusation, The Prisoner, and Lone Shark. Accusation coming out October 12th, 1978. Another Max Gail directing job here, in which Dietrich is accused of lewd conduct of a kind of mousy redheaded lady. I think mousy redheaded ladies must have been like Danny Arnold's thing because they seem to be all over this show.
And always getting into frisky trouble, especially with, Steve Landesberg. What a catch, huh?
Ooh, yeah.
Those dulcet tones really do it for the mousy redheaded ladies.
So I don't know why I wasn't paying attention in the last episode, but yeah, Luger's out of the opening credits, ladies and gentlemen. We only have now Dietrich and Levitt, and Levitt doesn't even show up in this episode. It's almost like we're going to need a Levitt watch.
Yeah, well, and I was going to say Luger, he might not be in the credits, but boy, he's in 2 of these 3 episodes.
Very happy about that. But this one, we've got George Murdoch back as Scanlon. Fuck that guy.
He's just the most shitheel of shitheel cops, right? Like, he is the stereotype by which I assume the shitheel cops of the time all really hewed close to. Like, hey, how you doing? I'm a cop and I'm a no-nonsense cop. It's like, okay, asshole, I get it.
I mean, I love George Murdoch as an actor, and he can play a heel, a villain like nobody's business. And he's just playing the shit out of Scanlan. You just hate him when he shows up.
Yeah, because he's always so unbelievably antagonistic towards everybody. He sets everybody else off the moment he comes in. He's antagonizing Harris. He's antagonizing Yemana. He's just an asshole of the highest order. And it's almost one note, but at the same time, because it is one note and he's used so sparingly, it works.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he was in every episode, you'd be like, oh, we're sick and tired of this guy already. But the fact that it's used so sparingly, I think kind of works for his character.
Yeah, if he was an every week or even an every month thing, forget it. I mean, it just would not work. But having this occasional antagonism against Barney and the boys of the 1-2, I think, that's okay. You know, he's always trying to prove a point. In this one, he's the bearer of bad news coming in with this Doris Whitaker character played by Miriam Bird Nethery. And she is this frisky redhead that we're talking about that was all about Dietrich. My goodness. She's there were some youths and they were writing bad things. And so what was that line, that amazing line that Dietrich has? She's looking at the mug books and she's like, oh, they're all so young. He's like, that's a common trait amongst juveniles.
The thing about Dietrich with this season is we've kind of mentioned it before, and I think it's worth mentioning again. He is really being given the bulk of the show. It feels like, at least the bulk of the jokes, and not unappreciated, but this is the first time where I was like, what is the point of this story? Like this, I don't know. There's no way Dietrich would do what they're claiming. And frankly, the fact that everybody is like, yeah, right, almost immediately kind of undercuts any of the tension of the episode. Because again, we know that nothing happened.
Right. Yeah, and he's given a chance to explain himself very quickly. So it's not like, he comes back to the precinct. The news arrives before he does, but he shows up pretty quickly thereafter. And then it's like, oh, well, let's go into Barney's office. He explains what happened, and it's all pretty much good. It's not one of these well, I don't know, maybe Dietrich secretly is a heel, maybe he's really this bad guy, because you're just like, no, he's you know Dietrich, you don't know this other character. And then when you have seen her, it's like, well, she's very infatuated with him. Maybe she's infatuated with any man that she can lure back to her apartment. I mean, it's a kind of a bad message in 2022 where it's like, believe all women type of thing. And in this, it's just like, no, clearly she was in the wrong. And, Dietrich did nothing bad.
Yeah. And honestly, I wouldn't say it's a problematic storyline, but it hasn't aged well.
No.
And again, I don't want to be the wokester of the group. Send me on to Martha's Vineyard, why don't you? Mm-hmm. But I don't want to be the wokester of the group and say, well, that hasn't aged well, or that's problematic, but it ain't great. Yeah. I mean, it's not great. It was, making a false accusation about someone sexually harassing you just downplays all the people that are being sexually harassed that do need to be believed and should be believed. So it's not funny, but at the same time, all things considered, it's handled better than, say, the rape episode handles its titular issue.
Yeah, or the beating of your wife or any of those kind of things. Yeah, it plays out a lot better than that. And especially just because you have seen this character, this redhead character, and Dietrich. So it's just like, it's laughable. And which works for a comedy show. So it's like, all right, that's great.
Yeah.
We've got a couple more storylines going on here. We have the return of Michael Tucci. He's coming back. He's going to show up at least, I think, 2 more times throughout the show. He was in the Hash episode. He played a character named Fred as opposed to his character here, Ruben. And I love how, I don't think he's supposed to be playing a teenager, thank goodness. But whenever I see him, I just always think of him as Sonny in Grease, which I think came out this same year. And it was just like, oh my God, how old is this guy? Grease comes out in 1978. He's born in 1946. So
hey, I'm always a teenager. No, you're not.
46, 56, 66, 76. You're 32 years old, dude.
It's like Adam Baldwin in the Chocolate War. Like, you're a fucking adult, pal.
Yes.
Like, you're an adult, sir.
He's 10 years older than Baldwin was.
Yeah. It's like, dude, but you know what? Like, Michael Tucci does enough. He's not given much to do. Given less to do now than he was before, frankly.
Frankly, I think he's a pretty darn good actor, and he makes me want to see him in more things. Like, I haven't seen The Paper Chase in forever. I forgot that he was in that. I always liked Gary Shandling's show. I remember him being good in that. He's fun. He's a lot of fun. And yeah, I like this, and I like that they play him off of this rabbi character, and that we've got the rabbi character, Joseph Greenblatt, who is running a casino. He got permission to run this casino. One night casino 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And then, of course, having to send Yemana on the call was pretty good. He's just like, you got any money I can borrow? No? Good.
Well, and then he comes back with a slot machine that he puts on his desk.
Yes.
And he's just sitting there at one point playing it, which, again, I feel like you and I have probably been keeping our eyes on Yemana more than before, given where we know where the season is going.
Oh, yeah.
And the real life implications of where the show is headed. And you know what? They're giving him in these 3 episodes, they've given him a lot more to do than they have in a long time. It's kind of refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
And Yemana he's playing into the character tropes that we already know he has, but in a way that we haven't seen. Like, they're bringing the gambling into the precinct in a way that we've never seen. It's normally him talking on the phone to a bookie, and all of a sudden there's a literal slot machine on his actual desk, which slot machines now, man, like, knowing what slot machines look like now.
Oh, yeah.
Little box just sitting on his desk.
Oh, I know.
Priceless. It's great. It's, again, when this show is operating at full power, you can't beat it. It's just so funny. And even when you have something like Jack Sue just standing at his desk playing a slot machine, again, knowing the character, what his foibles are, it's hilarious.
This episode was written by writing pair Wally Dalton and Shelley Zellman. And this is their first episode that they write, but they are going to write, I think like 8 more over the years. So they do this one. They also do The Prisoner. They'll be doing one called The Harris Incident, which color me intrigued. Toys, Middle Age, Open House, The Brother. So they just work over a period of like 2 years, and then they're out of here. But I'm pretty pleased with what they're doing. It's just unusual because we were talking about how you get the same names over and over and over again. But with this, we got some new blood going in the writer's room. Yeah.
And, Wally Dalton is an actor as well. So he's an actor and a screenwriter. Kind of interesting. Yeah. There's a different sensibility to this episode that the show hasn't had, which is that I don't know. I don't know if it feels, I don't know. It's weird. That whole thing with the character of Doris Whitaker it feels like it's not this show in a lot of ways. Like the precinct hasn't had to deal with something like that yet outside of the rape episode. And so it's a weird plot line to be going on, but it kind of works, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, it's unbelievable that anyone in the precinct would get accused of sexual harassment. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like, it's an interesting storyline because it's not played the way I was expecting, almost because it has to be played the way they're doing it, because we know that no character is actually going to do this in the precinct. Even even if it were Scanlon, I'm not even sure I would believe it. You know what I mean?
I could see Luger doing it, but just being like, not realizing that he is sexually harassing somebody.
Like grabbing a woman's ass type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Fine. We used to do that all the time at the pool hall. Come on. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, I could see that doesn't make it okay, but like, that's the level of which I expect the show to operate on those kind of topics. So it's weird that it's Landisberg and it's a woman just saying like, he like sexually assaulted me. Like, yeah, okay. Like, all right. Weird plot line to be going down, but they kind of nail it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do like the payoff at the end when she wants another ride home and everybody just immediately turns to their typewriters.
Yeah, not me, not
It's
today.
like, I'll take a cab. It's like, yeah, good one.
Yeah, you will.
The second episode, also written by Wally Dalton and Shelley Zellman. This time we've got Reinhold Weege in there, and we've got our good friend Noam Pitlick is back behind the director's chair. The Prisoner. And this is funny because I was just watching a documentary on Stephen King, and they were talking a ton about Shawshank Redemption. So when Jeff Corey comes in here as this prisoner that's been away for 30 years, he gets caught with a gun and he knows that that's breaking his parole. And I'm just like, man, you are so much like Brooks. You know, you can't face the outside world. He just wants to go back to prison. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I totally get it, man. But really what's at play here, we've got relationship problems. We've got this whole thing of Barney is no longer living with Liz. And then compare that to Luger, who's getting engaged to somebody he doesn't want to get engaged to. This whole like weird thing about agonists. I'm like, all right, man. I don't understand why you're so not happy about this.
I think I understand why Luger's not too happy about it.
Oh, are we going back to the Luger is gay thing?
Let me put it this way. If this episode doesn't put another drop in the bucket of it, I don't know what would, because he's awfully upset about being married to a woman. Or this woman, maybe not women in general, but this woman. Maybe we use the transitive property and go one step further. I don't know. Everything about Luger has been weird, the way he's written, because my feelings on the Luger character are this. He was introduced in the first season of the show. He has changed with the show and become obviously a part of the show. At least last season, he was billed as a main character in the show. Not so much now, but I feel like his character, like maybe he's not, maybe they're not giving any continuity in between his times on screen, but it feels like they're laying the groundwork for him to be just a generally weird character. And you couldn't write a gay character like this in 1978.
That's true.
We had gay characters on this show. You saw how they were handled.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Or mishandled, depending on your viewpoint.
This is such a star-studded episode. Every guest star that's in here is somebody, I mean, all the way from Peggy Pope, who's playing Frances Newbound, the widow of a cat burglar who has now taken up the family business. Jeff Corey, I mentioned, as Ralph Timmons, this prisoner. His parole officer, played by none other than Bruce Glover. Right. I was so happy to see that. And then we have a priest coming in, a Catholic priest. They definitely fucked up with that one. A Catholic priest coming in to offer some solace and some kind words to Barney, played by the one and only Henry Jones. I mean, everybody is somebody in this episode. And
don't forget, Peggy Pope has been on the show already twice. She'll be on the show 3 more times.
Oh, yeah.
It's, you know, like you've mentioned, this might be the most packed episode of the show that we've seen. Just from Jeff Corey and Bruce Glover alone.
Oh,
those. Normally, it's one or the other. It's not both. And, you know, obviously their Chinatown connection notwithstanding, but Jeff Corey and Bruce Glover together in this episode makes it kind of like a big deal. But then, yeah, Henry Jones and Peggy Pope just puts it over the top. And then, oh, by the way, James Gregory is also front and center in this episode. So it helps, I think. This is a good episode. I enjoyed this episode a lot.
Yeah, me too. It looks like James Gregory has lost a little weight to me. He looked a little gaunt in his face.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't know why it's been a while, but Otto Bruno's book, The Files from the Old 1-2, might have an answer for that, which you can pick up now on Bear Manor Media. I don't know. I don't want to prognosticate too much, given that we know where one of the other co-stars is going, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, he looked a little different. And it's weird that he's getting married. Like, what? Where's that coming from? And man, can we just talk about Barney's whole marital thing? Like, whoa. Okay, she's gone. So like, who gives a shit now? We'll just do whatever we want with the storyline. Like, she's never coming back. I mean, that's it. So
yeah. I mean, don't we get one more appearance from Liz at some point?
Sure, but I mean, at this point, one is about as good as none, right?
Right,
like,
exactly.
she's not a constant in the show anymore and should never have been. And now, frankly, this should have been the way they handled the character, is just like off screen. Barney talks about her. It kind of it enters his work life as much as he lets it, but it's not overwhelming his work life and getting in the way of it. That's how it should have been. She never should have been showing up at the precinct and palling around and, oh, hey, Mike, and blah, 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 blah. Like, none of that. Like, it just, because now where we are, like, the show is operating at full capacity with the best version of the show I think we've seen up until this point, and there's no place for characters that aren't in the precinct.
And I do like that we have Harris pretty much full mustache in this.
Yeah. I appreciate that. He looks great.
Yeah. Though I have to say, I think in the next episode, he has less mustache than he does in this one.
Yeah. I think we can tell which episode was shot first.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because all of a sudden he goes from full mustache to a very, not weak mustache, but a thinner mustache, to say the least.
Yeah. This one, in the last episode, we dealt a lot, obviously, with Dietrich. We had just a very little bit of Wojo and Harris. I mean, it was really very much like the Dietrich and Barney show in the last one. This one, I think all of our guests are foregrounded so much that we do get a little bit of the guys, but I think so much of this is about these guest stars in this one. And that's absolutely fine by me, because we've got, like I said, some real power players.
If you look at the show, there's 5-6 people, 5 in the precinct, 6 if you count Levitt. There are 4 guests this episode. There are almost as many guests as there are main stars of our show. So yeah, it's a crowded episode, but in a good way. And we've honestly never seen an episode like this one where the guys in the precinct are put in the back seat to everything else, and everything else is interesting. It's not like the Baby Broker or Strike, where it's like, okay, some of this is not operating on full cylinders. Bruce Glover and Jeff Corey are great. Peggy Pope is great, but obviously she's already been in the show before. And Henry Jones is also fantastic, and James Gregory is great. So it's almost like everybody else could have taken a week off. Like, we'll let them do the show, guys. Let them handle it. And somehow it actually works. Because normally the way I look at this show is it's all about the cast, the main cast, and the guests are playing kind of the fill-in parts. This is kind of the other way around, and it kind of works.
Mm-hmm. The last episode we're going to talk about is Loan Shark, which premiered November 2nd, 1978. A lot of writers on this one. I was super surprised. So it's story by Judith Ann Nielsen, Richard William Beben, I suppose it's pronounced, Mario Rocuzzo, and Bob Colleary, and then teleplay by our old pal Tony Sheehan. We got Noam Pitlet back, like I said, this whole season, other than just a very rare thing where we had Max Gale direct. I think he directs 2 more this season, plus he just did that one. I mean, this is the Noam Pitlet season. He is all over the place with this one.
Oh, yeah.
This, I think, had things played out differently, this might have been the best episode for Jack Sue to go out on, because he is fucking fantastic. This is a Yemana episode, if ever there was one.
And I'm glad that there was one, because up until this point, there hasn't been one.
No.
Look, Jack Sue, I think for me, is always going to be the character that I wonder why they didn't do more with him on this show, because he has always felt like, in a lot of ways, you could say it's always felt like he's the character that almost should never have been main cast, showing up all the time, because last season, he was like never there. Obviously, we know why. But even in the first 3 seasons, he was always, if Max Gale and Hal Linden are A, and Ron Glass and let's say Abe Vigoda were B, Jack Sue might be C or D even.
Yeah.
The way that they treat his character in this show. Which is unfortunate, because Jack Sue's timing is fucking perfect.
Oh, yeah. And we've got every single thing that we know the character of Yemana being represented in here. We've got filing, we've got coffee, we've got a little bit of talk of gambling, but it's amazing. Like, we hit all of those things. It starts off with Nick going through these old pictures, talking about his graduation from the police academy. He's been a detective or has been a policeman for 20 years and no one paid attention to his anniversary. So he is really carrying a grudge in this, and I respect him for it. I really like how pissed off he gets for being taken advantage of and no one paying attention to good old Nick. You know, he's there to do the filing. He's there to clean up the bulletin board. He's there to make the coffee. He's actually a detective that no one is allowing him to detect. And I really like the attitude that he's throwing at Barney, especially when he goes into Barney's office. He's just like, yo, well, you always got Harris and Wojo in here. I never get to sit on the couch. I'm like, nice. Way to go, Nick.
And just think, when he left, he went to Tim O'Leary's bar.
Yes. I love it.
That's all I was thinking. It was like, I'm going on to Tim O'Leary's and they're going to close that down. Like, I bet they are, Nick. That's what it reminded me of. That, like, I'm going and I'm sick of this shit. Like, but in that episode of Twilight Zone, was that Twilight Zone? Was that Night Gallery?
That was Night Gallery, yep.
What was that? What was that nightmare that we watched? It felt that same, like, you know, wistful shit. But in this show, it's earned 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Because he has been given nothing to do this entire show. It's almost, in a way, kind of a condemnation of the show as a whole.
It is, yeah.
I loved that. It was like, you know, you haven't given the only Asian American actor on the show anything to do. We haven't? Yeah, you haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's not going to be here much longer. And this should have been how he went out on the show.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Like, if he hadn't come back, I would have been like, you know what? You nailed it. Not only did you nail it in a way that I didn't expect you to nail it. Most people probably wouldn't have expected, because at the time, that would not have been the way to do it.
I mean, when he says, you know, I'm going out and I'm betting on this horse and I might not even be back, I was like, I kind of hope that his horse comes in and he just never comes back, you know, but of course the horse doesn't pay off. He has to come back. We've got the coffee gag at the end and everything, and he'll be back for one more episode. We'll talk about that next month. But yeah, I kind of wish that he had just been like, okay, peace out. And that was it. Last
Mic
time you
drop.
see that. Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah. Drop him just like Mike.
Landisberg is like, he's like, whoa, that was, he could have just said, you know, fuck you. And he's like, Harris is like, pretty sure he did.
Yeah. Yeah. 2
not
words.
so many words. Yeah. Yeah.
I think he just used 2. Yeah. That was really nice.
Yeah.
I love some of the other stories we have in here. We've got the African-American nerd from Revenge of the Nerds, but here he's much younger as this loan shark, the titular loan shark.
Lamar, the very gay character from Revenge of the Nerds. Yes. Magenta and orange.
Yeah, and I do like the pawnbroker at the beginning when he says to Harris, we get a lot of you people at my pawn shop, you know, cops.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything like the B plot also really works. Larry B. Scott's great. Mario Recuzzo plays a perfect, I don't know, that guy kind of character. I don't know what you would call that character. Just like a nebbish little shit. Like,
oh, he is great in this. Yeah. Yeah. And I like, as I saw him, I was just like, I've seen this guy so many times before. Where have I seen him? And man, he's got a huge filmography. And it's like, okay, I'm going to have to go through all of these and try to figure out where I've seen this guy before, because he's got a great look to him.
You're going to be seeing him 5 more times on this show. Guns, Resignation, Advancement, The Arrival, and Old Love. So all the way until 1982. So all the way essentially to the end of the run of this show.
That's great.
But he had been acting since 1960. Yeah. So yeah, it's, again, like, that's the thing about this show that I think obviously you love and I love a lot, is just seeing all these character actors, these great character actors. And a lot of them work past this show. A lot of them work on several episodes of this show, but they're always coming in and doing something interesting or being given something interesting to do. And I mean, that's the biggest success of this show, I think, is really just highlighting character actors from the 60s and 70s and in the 50s, frankly, sometimes if we're even going that far back.
Ironically, one of the last roles that he worked on was a show called Luck, a television series centered around characters who are tied to the same horse racing track.
Was that Dustin Hoffman show that ran for like 1 season?
Yeah.
Was that a Showtime show, I think, or was that HBO?
I can't remember. What a cast, though. Nick Nolte, Dennis Farina is in here, Richard Kind. I mean, it's a great cast, man. The fucking Ted Levine is in this. It's like, holy shit.
Was she a great big fat horse? Yeah, that show ran from 2011 to 2012, and it had 10 episodes. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. I can't remember which episode of the projection booth I had. I was talking with Maitland McDonough, and she was talking about when she got a tattoo in the 70s. And she's like, oh, yeah, I couldn't go to a tattoo parlor in New York because it was illegal. And I was just like, really? Tattoos were illegal? And to hear, I mean, here we are in 2022, ladies and gentlemen, and tattooing, like, I'm a freak because I have no tattoos. And here's an episode way back in 78 where it's just like, oh my God, you have a tattoo? Oh my God, Barney, you have a tattoo? That's wild.
And he was, and like that whole scene is, I have a tattoo that you can't see when I'm normal and dressed, but like Barney, if I were undressed, you could clearly see my tattoo. And it's so weird. It's just strange.
Yeah.
To see all these characters that I consider to be rather progressive, all of a sudden just like shutting the fuck down. It's like, what?
And fucking Wojo just like, all these guys in the Marines were getting all these tattoos. I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of what you do.
And you doofus. Mm-hmm. Or as Landisberg so aptly put it, these two bozos.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love Rokutso, George Willis, that he has a tattoo now that just says moth because he couldn't handle getting the whole thing.
I mean, I think, again, unsurprisingly, the best interaction in this episode is Larry B. Scott turning to Steve Landisberg and saying, "What do you want, honky?"
Yes.
To which Landisberg just explains to him what honky means.
I love it.
And then Larry B. Scott's character just goes, "All right, I don't want none of this. I don't want whatever you're selling. I don't want none of it." And like, that is the appropriate reaction to the human alien that is Steve Landisberg.
Yes. These are some really solid episodes this time around.
Oh, yeah. It's, again, when this show is operating at full capacity with everybody on the same page, there's a reason why Otto wrote the book about this show. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why people still love this show. And there's a reason why I would wager, if you're a police officer, maybe not someone my age, but a police officer, say your age or older than even people like in their 70s, like, that have been in police, they would say that this is their favorite cop show. And I would understand why, because it's not a cop show the way you expect. It's almost the anti-cop show. And I mean, these episodes are a good reason why, because almost nothing in these episodes has to do with these guys being cops. They just happen to be cops. And because they're cops, that means they're being tasked with dealing with this bullshit. Yeah. Otherwise, you know what I mean? Like, otherwise they would be doing literally anything else. But they're treating the police in this show like it's just another job. And I kind of appreciate the show for that in a lot of ways, because where we are now with cops is obviously a far cry from where we were in 78. But I do think it's important to see shows like this, because we can remember a time and a place where we didn't have the feelings that we had towards cops. Not that I'm saying it's not justified. In a lot of ways, it really is. But in a lot of ways, it isn't justified. And a lot of people have feelings towards cops that maybe they don't deserve necessarily. Because, again, they are still doing a job, quote unquote. And I think that that's an important thing that this show does show, is these are just guys doing a job. If anything, they could have been firefighters even. Like, this show might have worked better if they were firefighters in a way, because they do spend a lot of time sitting on their asses. So that's why I love this show. The show works still because it's not about them being cops. That just happens to be where the show is set.
Yeah. As far as the age, I mean, I guess anybody that was old enough to get a tattoo on VE Day.
Did you get one for VJ Day? Me either.
Yes, it was so good.
God, VE. I assume he got it for VE Day because my headcanon is that Barney Miller was in the European theater.
No, he said he was 15 when he got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I always like to believe that Barney Miller's older than he looks.
Right.
Because Hal Linden's a timeless man.
I just saw an article today. What was it? Like
91, it's still
91,
working.
And it's like, why should I retire? I'm like, wow, okay.
Hey, Hal, why haven't you done our show, baby?
Yeah, come on, babe.
Come on, Hal.
Let's talk.
Give us a little love. We are giving you plenty of love. We're spending our hard-earned time talking about your show that I think it's the cop show that any cop show should be compared against. Unless we're talking like a serious cop drama. This is the cop show that I think is the only one really still worth watching, even though we've had plenty of cop shows since. But there is something timeless about this show. Like, there really is. I'm kind of surprised at how timeless this show does feel in a lot of ways. Some stuff, not so much, but the show can't be faulted for occurring in 78 when society hadn't necessarily caught up with some of the more hard to swallow things for people in 78, like rape and gay characters. But hey, it's a progressive police precinct. They have an African-American character and an Asian-American character and an alien-American character. You can't convince me he's not an alien. I mean, they essentially said it outright.
Yeah. And I'm just so curious to see where all these characters go. I mean, I'm just here for them. And I so enjoy the interactions. I mean, when you get your good co-hosts coming in, your good storylines, it just works. And these 3 episodes really just fired on all cylinders.
I agree. And like you've mentioned, the characters are going on a journey together, but it feels like some of them are being given the opportunity more than others, especially this season. Landisberg and Ron Carey, who's been absent for 3 episodes now, surprisingly. It's interesting because they have changed, but in a lot of ways they've kind of stayed the same. So we'll see. Max Gale's character is like, Wojo is not given much to do recently.
No, it's very strange. I have a feeling that he might come back strong. Obviously, when we talk next month, there is the Harris incident. So we're going to be seeing that. There's one that is really going to focus around Luger, and there's one that is really going to focus around Levitt. So we're going to talk about the Vandal, the Harris incident, and the Radical. So very excited to talk about those with you, Chris. Until then, where can people find you and what you're up to?
So as for the stuff I work on specifically, cstachu.com, cstachiw.com. That's my link tree. Go there for all the projects that I am on. But you and I started a podcast network, Weirding Way Media, where we have all kinds of shows, not just movies, not just TV, all kinds of stuff. You can find that at weirdingwaymedia.com, and you should. What about you, Mike?
You can find everything that I do with Chris and with other people and by myself. I believe it's pronounced Menage a Trois. You can find that over at weirdingwaymedia.com. So lots of good stuff. Definitely check it out. Thank you, everybody, for downloading this episode and listening to us talk about Barney Miller. Nothing like us talking about something that is 78, 88, 98, 2008, 2018, 42 years old. Yeah, that's older
42
than
years young, baby.
That's a lot. That's older than a lot of people in our audience here. But man, if you love Barney Miller, this is the place for you. Thank you so much. I want to thank John Walker for doing our theme song. I want to thank who does our Maggie. I want to thank Maggie Diod for doing our beautiful cover photo where you can see Chris and I in the Barney Miller board game. Thank you. Yeah, I have nothing else to add to that. I should wrap it up with something. And until next month, make sure you stay safe.
Please do, for all of us.
And until next month, don't do any crimes.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror. We'll cover all the subgenres, so join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.